faced with the threat of cabinet resignations. Joining us now from Westminster, Alisa Nandy, the Labour MP for Wigan, who went against the constituency by voting to remain, but in the past she said she could back the Prime Minister's deal, and also Conservative MP Ben Bradley, who voted to remain but now describes himself as a confident Brexiteer. Very good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Now, this is all very complicated. I'm thinking, if I may, what I'd kind of like to do is, in a quiz show, they might call it a quick fire round.
Oh, God.
So, March the 12th, who would vote for the deal? First of all, Ben, do you want to start us off? Will you vote for the deal on, I know that could change between now and then, as it stands?
Well, that's the challenge. Current deal, no. I voted against it last time. I don't think it's good enough. I'm hoping, and the best scenario for us all, is that she gets the changes she needs so that I can vote for it. That's certainly the easiest way through all of this.
Okay, Lisa?
Same but different changes, I suspect. So, sort of highlights the problem in a nutshell. I would vote for a deal if we could get a decent deal that protected jobs in my constituency, but I'd need more guarantees than we've currently got at the moment.
Okay, so, and that is, to be fair, quite a big if, isn't it? But we will see between now and then what happens. So, we move on to the next stage. If we assume the deal is voted down, Ben, would you vote to rule out no deal?
No, I think we promised for a long time that we would leave on the 29th of March. The Prime Minister's promised that. That's what my constituents expect. They voted 71% to leave, one of the highest in the country. I don't think we can take that off the table.
Lisa?
Well, the trouble is that we haven't got a deal that commands the majority support in Parliament, and if we leave with an unplanned no deal, we've got serious problems out there in the country for jobs, for access to food, for medicines. And so I would vote for an extension, but what I want to know from the Prime Minister is why she's seeking an extension. And at the moment, the trouble is we're going around in circles in Parliament. It doesn't appear that anyone's really got a plan. And what I want to do is come back with a role for Parliament in what happens next, some guarantees about customs union, access to the single market, and then I would vote through the deal and we wouldn't have to be talking about extending Article 50.
Ben, if I understand you correctly, you would be happy, would you, going into the no deal scenario?
Well, I think ultimately we have to be as prepared as we can. If we get to the point where that deal is voted down, we've promised that we will leave the European Union. We promised we'll do that on the 29th. I think we'd have to spend that intervening time then talking to the European Union about what measures we can put in place, what continuity and safeguards we can put in place before the 29th. But ultimately, we promised people that we would be leaving. The idea, Labour talking about second referendums or long extensions to Article 50, to me, are unacceptable if we're going to deliver on the promises we made. Well,
it follows from that. I'm just curious, Ben, as to where that leaves you in relation to Theresa May. I mean, you say it's unacceptable, but she is now, it's for a long time, of course, she literally wouldn't say the words, it's possible to extend. She now is. Is that acceptable for you to have Theresa May as your leader if she breaks what you clearly see as a very profound promise to the people you represent?
Well, look, she's not going anywhere, is she? I think, we can all agree that we would probably have done it very different if we were in charge of it, but ultimately we've got to play the ball where it lies, and that means we have to deal with the situation now. The way through this is still for her to come back with something that, the lawyers, the Attorney General down here can tell us makes that backstop something that will be acceptable, whether that's a change, an endpoint, something that means we're not permanently tied in. Then we can probably get the deal through this place and leave on the 29th. That's still the way forward, and we've got to, I think, for all the frustrations, we've got to rely on her to go and get that, because if that deal doesn't pass, then we are into really choppy waters.
And Lisa, one of the things that got slightly overshadowed yesterday because of Theresa May's announcement about this sequence of votes was your party's decision to formally back the idea of a second referendum. I mean, is that your preferred option?
No, absolutely not, because we've had 2.5 years of uncertainty, and the truth is that already people in my constituency are losing jobs because of this. We can't afford to just keep kicking this into the long grass. I don't think there's a majority in Parliament for a second referendum, and what you heard a couple of days ago from the Labour Party was something that I think is more about internal party management than is about trying to solve the problem. The truth is that we all stood on a manifesto in 2017 that said we respect the result of the referendum. I voted to remain, I campaigned for remain, but we asked people to make a decision. They went out in good faith and made a decision, and we said we would get on with it, and we need to find a way through this that delivers on that result and that provides certainty for business. The more that we keep going round in circles with options that aren't going to command demand majority support in Parliament, the more people will lose jobs, the more businesses will put off investment decisions, and the more problems we'll see. So I think we need to stop chasing alternatives and start really focusing our energies on sitting down, working this out in Parliament and getting through. I'd like to say we'd do it by the 29th of March. I honestly don't think that we will at this stage, but we need a proper plan and we need to get behind it and move this country forwards.
My reflection on listening to both of you, it's quite interesting, is that unusually in the current climate, you two appear to have quite relatively similar viewpoints. Would that be fair?
I think we come at it from probably different ends of the spectrum slightly. I'd be much more comfortable with a harder Brexit, I imagine, than Lisa would be. But actually, we've just been talking before, actually, about the similarities. And actually, for all of the drama, the thing that will get a majority in Parliament, that deal with the changes that we need to see it work, that will give a level of certainty, that will make sure we're not tied permanently into a backstop into the European Union. Actually, I think both of us could probably hold our noses, not be particularly happy, but get behind in order to deliver the thing. And I think ultimately that is really the only way through the situation we find ourselves.
The key actually is that our constituencies, I don't think our constituencies are very different.
No.
And, for all of the talk about MPs, being bullied or harassed into voting one way or another. The truth is that a third of my constituents voted Remain, 2/3 voted to leave. Amidst that, people have got very different views on where they want to go with this and how they want to see it develop. And amongst all of that, the overriding priority for someone like me has to be to protect jobs in my local area, and I think that's true of Ben as well.
Yeah.
And that's basically why you see a level of agreement breaking out, because that's got to be the priority.
We thank you for your time this morning. Thank you both very much.